Hello, good evening.
Good
We
evening.
are coming to you as the Healing After Abuse Station. I am Shondale Wilhite. I am one of your hosts for this evening, and my co-host is
Saundra Mosley. Hi, everyone. We're so happy to be here with you. We have a great show lined up. And yeah, let's just have some fun. Hey,
yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So we Saundra came up with this idea and I jumped right on board with it because we have a support group on Facebook, a private support group on Facebook called Healing Support After Abuse, Domestic Violence. What is the name of our group?
Right. Healing support, healing after domestic violence. Support group.
Yes.
Healing support
And
after.
so tonight, what we're going to be talking about first off, this is our first show, so we're so excited about it. We're going to be talking about forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah. Forgiveness,
Forgiveness.
forgiveness is really something that I feel like I can forgive other people. But when it came to self-forgiveness, I think that was a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
felt like all the guilt and shame, like
Yeah.
for putting up with the abuse. Why did I allow it to go on so long? And just
Yeah.
a little backstory about Shondale and myself. We are both survivors of domestic violence, and that's why we actually came together last year. Was it last year? It was, huh? No,
Yes.
actually 2020 during the pandemic.
Was it
Uh,
2020?
it was.
It sure was. Because it's,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And so, with us being survivors, I think we met in another support group.
Yep.
And just the work that we did, we just wanted to collaborate. And it's just been an awesome collaboration ever since. But just really doing the group so that we can be a voice for other women
Yep.
and being able to provide the services and resources and everything that we do. And so now we're like, okay, let's put a face to our names.
Yeah. We kind
Let's,
of been behind the
yeah,
scenes in the private support group. And so now we just want to talk about the whole healing aspect of it all, because basically that's what we all need to do. We all need to heal. It is a journey. It's not a destination point to where you say like, oh, well, yeah, I'm healed, I'm fixed, I'm done. It's a continuous journey because there's so many things that can trigger us and all of that as we just go through life, even getting into new relationships and that kind of thing. And we're going to talk a whole lot about all of that, the triggers and all that. But tonight we're going to talk about self-forgiveness
yeah, yeah.
and how
And
to
just
forgive
really,
ourselves.
yeah. And so just a little backstory about us both being survivors and just really finding ways to forgive. Like for me,
Yeah.
like I said earlier, I could forgive everyone, but then when it came to me, I just really couldn't do that. I just felt like I said, why did I stay so long? Why didn't I leave? And then when you have children involved, just like my kids had to see that.
Yeah.
So really, really doing that self-forgiveness piece took a long, long time. And so
Absolutely.
yeah, let's get into it. What
Yeah.
do you think were some things that helped you with self-forgiveness? Like what helped you forgive yourself?
I just think that for me, when because I really didn't know anything about domestic violence. I didn't even know the words domestic violence. What is that? You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so it took me a very long time to just get to that point. And I'm going to say just a matter of maybe a few years ago.
Yeah, for sure. You
What's
know,
so funny about it, you
One
know?
thing that I learned, like with the self forgiveness part, is I remember we were in counseling, and the therapist had said to me, "Well, what happens?" Because I was like ready to divorce. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And she goes, "Well, what would happen if he leaves and then has this great life after?" And I thought about that, and
Hmm.
for a very long time, I was angry because of that. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to forgive that because I'm like, what if he does change
Yeah.
and do, the
Yeah.
right thing, so just really forgiving him and then myself. But it did take me a while to kind of go, you know what? No, he's not going to change. And honestly, he hasn't. 15 or so years, he is exactly the same. So he didn't change. Thank you for
And
your question.
that's so funny because I was thinking like, we just want them to just stop doing what they're doing and
Yeah,
be this perfect guy for us, right?
right.
And most of the time, that's just not going to happen. And then when they get with somebody else, we just feel like, oh, he's going to be just that. He's going to have this beautiful, perfect life and all this and that. I'm like,
Eh. Wait, how do you say? Three relationships, a 90-day marriage, and still not married later.
right.
There's
All of
still,
that. So I think what made me be able to just forgive myself and try to move on is the fact that I knew I deserved better.
yeah,
I knew I deserved better, and I was just settling for being with somebody
yeah,
because, I always felt like I had to be with somebody. So to keep me from being lonely or being by myself,
right.
you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
was just like, you know what? It's time out for all of this. And then I kept asking these questions. I wrote a post today. I don't know if you saw it. And when I
I
was talking
did.
about my journals, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I was
Yeah.
like, man, this was 9 years ago. And
Wow.
every page that I was reading, I was just like, I went back. I gave him
Wow.
another chance. I did this.
Yep.
I did.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And just
Until it
really,
just got to a point to where it was like, really?
yeah, I think really starting to love myself, you know, and I had did a lot of mirror work, which I had never
Yeah.
done before. And I think the
Yeah.
first time I did mirror work, which is look in the mirror and talk to
Mm-hmm.
yourself, I
Mm-hmm.
cried, you know.
Yeah.
And then when I started doing mirror work, that's when the confidence start
Yeah.
building. I got, more confidence and then the self-esteem. And then I look back over my life and I'm like, you didn't ask for this, this happened to you. You
Yeah.
didn't ask for this. You wanted your marriage to work in the beginning when you didn't know it was abuse, right?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
have four small children, so you wanted this to be right. And so doing, rebuilding my confidence,
Yep.
rebuilding my self-esteem. Then it got to the
Mhm.
point where it's just like, shoot, I know who I am, like I'm like I'm gonna be okay. And just really like allowing myself and giving myself permission, like I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah. That's
I didn't
it.
ask
Giving
for it.
yourself permission to
Yeah,
be okay.
to be okay, and
You
really
know?
allowing yourself, just forgiving yourself, because
Mhm.
like I said, I didn't ask for this, and
And
then not being ashamed.
yeah. And I was thinking that too. We always feel like we have to have, this reason why this and why that and, why. And you just can't have closure unless, somebody apologizes or, whatever the situation may be. And, I just got to a point to where I was just like, it is what it is.
Yep, yep,
Accept it,
yes,
accept that,
yes,
and move forward.
yep,
Why
yep,
do I need closure from somebody that is not loving me right,
yeah,
that's not treating me right, that's not giving me, everything that I ever dreamed of or imagined or whatever, you know? And so it just made me get to a point to where I was just like, okay, I'm good.
But isn't it something how we hold that, like we need that approval,
Yeah,
a death grip?
yeah,
And we
yeah.
cannot move on. Like, no, he owes me an apology, or she
Mm-hmm.
owes me an apology. They owe me an apology, and I'm not gonna move on without it. But when
Mm-hmm.
you really get past it,
Yeah.
and I wish I had the answer to that day where you wake up and go, you know what? Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
It's like
And
it's almost like you want to have a timeline on it, and you don't.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that's where it gets like confusing and frustrating and overwhelming. It's just like, okay, because tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I want to be healed and I want to be forgiven and I want them to forgive me. And it's like it doesn't happen,
That happened like that.
that way,
And the thing about it is you have to get sick and tired of
Yeah,
being sick and
right.
tired for real.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Because we get sick and tired of being sick and tired all the time.
You
But
know,
for real.
and I think it comes where it's just when you really start looking in the mirror, because one of the things, and I think we talked about this in our private conversations too, about like our confidence, like we don't allow the abuse, but somewhere down the line, something happened for us where we tolerated or put up with something, you know, where that, and for me, it was my self-confidence, you know, and my self-esteem. I lost it.
Yeah.
You know, is that subtle, you know, because, and again, mine wasn't physical. So it's just that subtle, you know, that they do to where you do stop loving yourself, you know.
You really do. And you listen to everything that they tell you. You start believing everything that they take, because you hear it for so long, regardless as to how long you are in that relationship, whether it's 2 months, a month, a year, 5 years, 20 years, 40 years.
Right. Right.
And then you start questioning yourself, like, why, or how did I let this go on so long, kind of thing. And it's just, I don't understand how we do that as women, but we do. And I think that we can basically take that and still continue on with our lives once we get to a point to where we can say, you know what, I forgive myself for this. I forgive myself for staying as long as I did. I forgive myself for going back so many times. I forgive myself for listening to all the lies that he ever told me. I forgive myself for just tolerating any of this, for putting my children through this. I forgive myself for whatever it is.
Yep. And that's what it is. And you have to slowly do that and be okay with that. And even on the days where you mess up and you don't get it right, still pick yourself back up and keep moving forward. Keep moving forward.
I think that's an important part of healing. First and foremost is to really forgive yourself, because we could just blame, you know, that blame game and that guilt and all of that, you know, cut it loose. Cut it loose. You know, we all have issues within ourselves. You know, there are things that we have to hold ourselves accountable for as well, being in the relationship. And then once you forgive yourself, you can start really looking at why, that question, why do I keep attracting these type of people? That's a valid question.
Right. And a whole nother topic. Because you're right. Because then that cycle, you keep getting the same type of person. And that's a thing, you know, like, so
that is it.
Working on yourself, it's a process, you know, it is a journey. It's not an overnight fix. We want everything, like me. I wanted everything fixed tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
You know, like,
tomorrow at noon.
I don't got time to work on this. Like, I need this done, you know?
Absolutely. And you know, it just takes time. We have to be patient with ourselves. We have to really sit back and do the work. Do the work.
Say that one more time, ma'am.
Do the work for the people in the back. Do the work.
We gotta do the work. You gotta do the work.
Gotta do the work.
Yeah.
And so
that's another thing. I didn't want to do the work.
That's it. And you know what? And then to that point, when you don't want to do the work, what do? You just change relationships instead of changing who you are.
There you go. And then you're stuck.
Because you're like, oh, well, this one didn't work. I'm gonna just go to another one. Boom, baby, that's gonna work. Negative.
Right. And then we in this cycle of like, why do I keep picking the wrong man? Well, you know, and it's just that.
Yeah. And then it's to a point to where we have to work on ourselves. And that's what I had to realize, that we had to really work on ourselves in order to be able to attract different. We have to become a different person. And so in order to do that, you got to put in the work. And so, hey, That's what it is, healing after abuse
Yeah.
is what we're talking about here. And you know what? We're wrapping up. We're wrapping up. We're just gonna come bring y'all just a tad bit because we're here to help, right? We're here to help. We're here to heal ourselves as well because there's still a lot of healing we have to get through. Baby, what we talking about the healing the nervous system.
That part.
My nerves are so bad.
So
we got a lot.
Me and Shondale, we are on the other side of abuse. However, we still deal with life,
Yeah.
I was telling her about this woman that I saw at one of the trauma conferences that I went, which is doing holistic healing work.
Yeah.
So me and her are going to be tapping into that this
Absolutely.
year.
Absolutely.
We're still healing,
And see, Saundra is healing in a marriage and Shondale is healing very single.
Yeah. So we can bring it to you from both angles.
Both angles. There you go.
Well, this is so much fun. I can't wait to do this next week.
So tune in, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your fam, and tell your dogs and your cats too.